You may have heard that things look a little bit different in Peoria this year. The Mariners have made a number of improvements to the sports complex, and I'm here to give you a behind-the-scenes look. Back here, you've got an area that used to be nothing but plastic chairs, maybe some banquet tables, kind of a big space when real estate is not very much, and they have decided to put a bunch of, as you see, the Adirondack chairs there, the low tables, and the idea with this is to create just kind of a comfortable spot, an area where you can kind of sit, relax, have a conversation. It could be the players, it could be the families who come by to see the players and staff, it could be media members, it could be a lot of different people, but this area now gets utilized in a much different way. Mental skills, you sometimes see some of the coaching going on there. Now we're walking on turf, and all of this is brand new. This turf all the way up to where you see the bullpens, new, and again, utilizing space in the best way that you can. What the aim here was they wanted to have a more campus-like feel and a little bit better flow. And I think a lot of the changes that we see are in that effort. The area between here and the pitching mounds is called an agility area, and as I said, did not exist before, but now you've got 25 yards of turf where they can do sled pulls, quick sprints, and as you can see, of course, that's the weight room or the outdoor portion of the weight room. So new, what we're looking at over here, you see the Seattle wall, you see what is a portable mound right here, or two mounds on the portable mound. They're actually going to put two of these in Seattle. What this is a plyo wall. There's one on the other end too. This has mound, the other is flat ground. This is an area where pitchers can do their plyo work. You'll see them sometimes throwing weighted balls, things like that. I would have put Logan Gilbert's face on there because I think he was probably, not because we don't like him, we love Logan Gilbert, but I think he was probably a big part of the inspiration for this. A lot of the work that he does that is different, now there's an area for him and others to do that. They consulted about 65 people in what they were going to do with this area right here. About 12 players, Logan Gilbert was one of the players that they did talk to about that. So now they've got a nice area specifically for them to work on plyo work, some of the kind of bullpen pantomiming you see sometimes, just some extra space that before they just had to kind of find space. Now it's dedicated. Now we get into the bullpen area and big changes here. This originally was natural grass from here to where the catchers would set up. They've got brand new mounds, everything perfectly level, measured. They're in the best condition they've probably been in the last 20 years. And they have gone from, they used to call this a six-pack because there were 6 pitching mounds, now there are just 4. And they were also able to better line this up with the posts that you see straight across. You've got some technology that is on those pillars. That right there is your TrackMan tracking. All of the data that they like to collect, that they now collect in bullpens, collected there and wirelessly transmitted to these monitors now that we see above the mound, and that's a big change. Now everybody's got their own monitor and you can see it from the mound. You don't even have to step off the mound. You can look right at your pitch data. Another thing they did is they bumped this whole area out. You would often see, and I'm sure you've heard by now, that Mariners pitchers like to watch each other. The starters watch all their bullpens, and pitchers kind of by nature like to see what the other pitcher is doing. So there's usually a pretty healthy crowd out here for these sessions, let alone your trainers, your coaches, your front office members. Now there's just a little bit more room for them to stand back here, be out of the way. Everything just feels a lot less crunched. As we walk across, and we're going to get across the way to where the catcher's set up, is something that is totally brand new. Used to be, there was a fence right here, big fence. Now this area right here is an area that's been dedicated to defense. 27 outs, no more. You probably heard that is Perry Hill's saying. The catchers have taken it on as well. And what we've got here is a wall, again, with the good turf down here, where he can do the wall work that he used to do all the way across the way on the memorable wall. And that was against concrete and then on a concrete ground. So now you've got something that is much more akin to what they are going to run into on the infield. So every day, this wall gets an absolute workout. Perry Hill working with all of the infielders off of this wall. On the other end over here is where the catchers have a dedicated work area, and they probably needed it even more. They used to fight to find space over in the bullpen areas, which was kind of a challenge. Now you've got 3 home plates here, different kind of turf from what we've got going on the infield areas and the agility. This is a true hop turf, and so it'll better replicate what they could see bouncing in front of them in a game type situation. Now we come over here, and we mentioned they did have to bump out further to get this space right here. So the fans are a little further back, but I think that they feel more a part of the action over here as the fence is gone, and now it's wide open. Really kind of a different atmosphere for them to really be able to kind of lean in, love the space that they have to put down everything that they've been carrying around every day. You've got kind of an ADA area down at one end, under 18 reserved at the other. And I've been hearing rave reviews of this from the fans. I think now is a good time to go ahead and stop and talk about, I mentioned flow and a campus feel and what we've got going right now. If you take it all the way back to the clubhouse, you can go directly from the clubhouse to the training room to the weight room to agility, agility to the pitcher's mound. You could go to the batting cages, which we'll get to in a second. It all flows much better to the defense area, and you can actually now go to fields 1 and 2 directly from this main area. So that was, again, part of the idea of what they were doing, is just setting up better flow when you have the limited space that you have. Coming up on our left is the batting cages. Promise we'll get to that in just 1 minute, but we do have to revisit what the catchers see over here. And what's awesome about this is we can now see what the catchers see over here. This area before, again, was the fencing that we saw over on the other side, but it also had a black windscreen tarp that if there was a little bit of a rip in the tarp, you might be able to see a pitch, get a little bit of a video. But now you can get behind where your catcher is. You can see what Cal Raleigh sees. You can see what the ball looks like out of Logan Gilbert or Brian Wu's hand, and it is quite the experience. I'm told this netting is completely safe and nothing's going to get us when we're watching this. Okay, now the cages. Back here is something they didn't have before, and you might not be too excited about it, but the clubbies are. This is where they store all the pitching machines. The area that we're in right now is where the bats would be stored, where people would hang out until it was their turn to step into the cage. Now they've got a dedicated space for the pitching machines, and that's a lot of pitching machines. And as I mentioned, everything's been reversed. On this end, you've got your pitching machines, and you can use different, they'll have like the high velocity, they'll have the curved ball machine, they'll have a regular pitching machine. At the end, there's the traject that can basically replicate any pitcher by video. So we come around here, you've got 4 cages, 3 with the machines, the 4th with the traject, and you've got hit tracks up above, which kind of like the TrackMan measures the data of everything that they're doing, bat speed and whatnot, and they can see that on monitors that are above and behind them in this case. If you're into kind of the turf situations, this is different than most. Most batting cages, they will pull mats in. Here they have embedded it, and they've gone with a custom blue color. And because it's embedded, and what they would do with the mats and why it was mats is because they get worn pretty quickly. These will have to be replaced every year, but they're good with that. They felt that they wanted it to be embedded, but a much better, cleaner look to the batting cages. So you see some of the equipment, some of the technology that they use here. This is a bat scale over in this corner, which I had not seen one like this before. This is how exact they get. I remember the one that Edgar Martinez had, and it was just like a little kitchen scale. Now it's down to the nth degree. A little artwork going in this too, and this is fantastic. You look at it, you've got the 3 Hall of Famers, you've got Edgar, you've got Junior, you've got Ichiro, and you have got what is basically the Seattle skyscape, kind of a Frasier-ish look to that. I'm told this was done in-house. I'm not sure who the artist is, but it is impressive. And coming back over on this end, much like at the front of the complex or the very back of the complex, you've got a seating area. This is not for families, media, and everybody else. This is for the hitters. A place for them to congregate, for them to wait. They used to wait on a bench before. Now they've got the comfortable seats, and if they want to hang out, they can hang out too. The TVs up here are actual TVs. They can watch sports up here, put games on up there if they like. Just a little extra area for the hitters right there. So this is kind of a wrap-up of what they've done this year, and this is a project that they are hoping is going to stem into other projects and kind of further, I think, the college, the campus feel that they are looking for down here in spring training. This building, by the way, is utilized almost year-round. It's shut down for a month, about a month in the month of December, but course, got spring training right now. You've got Arizona Fall League. Rehab players will spend time here, short season, right after they get drafted. They will come down here. So a lot of good use in this facility, and they're doing everything they can to make it a place where guys can come feel comfortable while they're working out, make it feel welcome to the families, as we mentioned before, with the seats over here, and basically get the best out of their players.